Hi, I'm Tracey, the Agapanthus Queen from Littlewood Agapanthus Farm. Today we're going to show you what we call our feral clumps. Now, a lot of people stick Agapanthus in the ground and just leave them there and do nothing with them, which is fine because they won't die. After about 10 to 15 years, they actually tend to grow on top of each other and they get aerial roots that come down, and then they'll stop flowering, or they won't flower as much as they used to. We get a lot of people who come in and say, my Agapanthus not flowering like they used to. And I always say, how long have they been in the ground? Inevitably, oh, they've been there 20 years. I want to show you today what happens when Agapanthus have been there 15 or 20 years and why they may not flower so well. The good thing about them is they won't die, they look lush, but you won't get good flowers. And this is why. When they grow over a long period of time, they tend to grow on top of each other. And look, these are right out of the ground. Look, the rhizome is absolutely right out of the ground. Now, how can they get any nutrients? And so these guys sent down aerial roots, but it's really not good enough. So that whole clump needs to be lifted out of the ground, divided up, chopped off, put back down in the ground with some fertiliser, and they'll go nuts for you with the flowering. A clump of this size, we would never dig by hand. We have a lovely little excavator that does all the work for us. But I'm going to go to another clump, which we would dig by hand, and show you how we do that. Okay, we're going to dig up a smaller clump of Prakox orientalis agapanthus. That's the standard. This one's a blue clump. Prakox orientalis is either blue or white, the standard ones that you see everywhere. This is a fairly small clump, so I'm going to dig this for you, show you how, and show you how to divide them as well. These ones are pretty easy, they're very hardy, and they have a single rhizome for each single plant. So that's pretty easy to divide up. Some of the Agapanthus that we have here are not like that. Guilfoyle, for example, which is a very special Agapanthus, is all on the one rhizome, so that needs a different way to do it. But for the good old standards, this is how we go. So we're going to just go around as we do for all our clumps and just loosen them up. And then you can see we're prizing it out of the ground. You can probably hear the roots breaking a bit. Then I would get my helper to pull the Agapanthus back so that I can trim it. So I'm just going to get Jenna to hold the Agapanthus while I just trim the dirt off, because it will make it too heavy. I'm going to trim off the roots here so that it looks quite shallow, but we don't need all that root system because we're going to divide these up, and it's just too much, so they don't need it. So I'm just going to chop through all of that. And I pull out all those old dead bits of leaf. Then I can actually see what I'm doing when I'm coming to divide them. I'll roll the clump over and I'll do the same again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop this clump in halves. So I'm going to put my shovel there on the bottom, because I can see that that's really a line where the Agapanthus will be dividing, and I'm going to put my shovel in, and I do it down the bottom rather than at the top, because you will find that once you cut through the root, the clump will divide easily and you'll lose less Agapanthus. And there it is, it's coming apart. Voila! And then you can see those beautiful big fleshy rhizomes, and this is the part you want. The tuberous roots are good, but it's this fleshy rhizome that actually nourishes the plant. I'll just take these leaves off so that I can see what I'm doing. We deadheaded these. We deadhead all of our Agapanthus down low, but when we're dividing I take out the old stalks, and you can then really see, look, there's a snail, we don't need that. There are two sides to this clump, and there's an Agapanthus at the back. I might lose that, but maybe not. So I'll put my shovel in there, and I'll just go down, and there we are. So that is a nice clump, and you can either divide those into singles, or you can just replant that clump. You plant up to the collar, up to here, so you put the whole clump back down in the ground. And that's what they need, and then you'll get good flowering. We always recommend to put some fertiliser in the hole, then put your Agapanthus in, tamp it down, water here in the hills about every 3 or 4 days until they're established, and then perhaps once a week. If it's 40 degrees, you need to water. And it's very easy, as you can see, and really all you need is a sharp shovel.